Kenya intensifies the fight against terrorism and violent extremism. Questions have arisen over the whereabouts of Kenyan youth of Somali origin who were given military training in a program to create a buffer zone in Jubaland. It is alleged that this group of young men just vanished, and there are fears that some might have been recruited by Shabaab. Let's get that report from our very own Enoch Sikolia.
This was August 2011. A group of local militia called Raskamboni and the transitional federal government of Somalia soldiers had taken over Doble town in Somalia. Before the onslaught, this town was under the grip of Al-Shabaab terror group. This was part of Kenya's bigger plan to keep at bay the group of insurgents that had started to unleash its activities on Kenyan soil. It was dubbed the Jubaland project. Bungoma Senator Moses Wetangula was Kenya's foreign affairs minister when the initiative was mooted and executed.
The original concept was to get the transitional federal government of Somalia, recruit young Somalis, bring them into Kenya, give them proper military training, redeploy them back with sufficient equipment and capacity to protect both their country and shield Kenya from any incursions from Somalia.
The Somali government was unable to contain its territory. It was very difficult for it to defeat Al-Shabaab or to contain Al-Shabaab, and therefore it had to move in to Somalia.
The Jubaland initiative, coordinated by then Prime Minister Raila Odinga's office, but jointly chaired by then President Mwai Kibaki, aimed at training over 3,000 fighters. The government estimated that the fighters would be up against between 1,000 and 1,500 Al-Shabaab militants.
The Jubaland initiative was very strongly opposed by the Americans, was opposed by the UN, and perhaps that's why it didn't succeed.
Attempt by Wetangula, then Foreign Affairs Minister, to bring the US on board proved futile, and so the government resorted to secretly giving military training to a pool of young Kenyans of Somali origin from Garissa, Mandera and Isiolo, going against the initial plan of militarizing Somalis from Somalia. They trained at Achas Post in Samburu and the KWS training facility at Manyani in Taita Taveta between 2009 and 2011, and were to fight alongside former Somalia Transitional Federal Government TFG troops and were promised lucrative terms and settlement. Then the Kenyan government under Mwai Kibaki and Raila Odinga denied the existence of such trainings. The initiative, a baby of then intelligence boss Michael Gishangi, was later to be abandoned.
General Karangi, as he then was head of the army, had different ideas. He wanted to walk into Kismayo. And to walk into Kismayo, you had to dismantle Jubaland. So that dream and plan and program was shattered. The boys who were trained to go and, I believe, become part of the structures of the buffer zone in Jubaland melted into nowhere.
There is a feeling that a lot of those young men have come back who are trained, and they're back in the villages. Maybe some of them have come back with the arms.
There is a feeling that the government, having failed to fulfill its promise that included monthly payments of up to 255,000 shillings and plots in Kismayu, some of them ended up joining Al-Shabaab instead, either in Somalia or as sleeper cells in Isiolo, Mandera and other towns like Nyeri. A majority of those recruited in 2009 apparently came from Mandera and Isiolo.
I don't think those ones are the ones who have joined Al-Shabaab. Those ones that can be involved in other criminal activity. But these people who are involved and who are recruited and who are radicalized by Al-Shabaab are people either who have been recruited here, taken to Somalia, trained and then brought back to come and cause mayhem in our country, or they are people who have been radicalized through the internet.
Remember, terrorists target the mind. And when terrorists are targeting the mind, they will latch on any reason, including abuse of human rights, to do more recruitment. Many of these young people obviously are driven by anger. They are indoctrinated because, and Al-Shabaab is successful in brainwashing them, in indoctrinating them because of the anger that they have.
Isiolo has been in the headlines since the Riverside attack that left over 21 people dead and scores injured. The leader of the Al-Shabaab group that participated in the attack was born and brought up in Isiolo, with police reports highlighting Isiolo as a town with many active sleeper cells that have been recruiting Kenyan youth to join Al-Shabaab. Enoch Sikolia, Citizen TV, Nairobi.